Welcome to my bold and beautiful Today's Show channel. I hope today fantastic for everyone. Please hit the subscribes button and give this video thumbs up. Mother's rivalry reignites as Steffy and Hope's peace crumbles. Bold and beautiful reveal that Ridge Forrester's ongoing triangle with Brooke Logan and Taylor Hayes threatens to destroy the fragile peace between Steffy Forrester and Hope Logan, as family loyalties force the daughters to take sides once again. Ridge's impossible choice between Brooke and Taylor will shatter Steffy and Hope's peace. The eternal triangle that has defined the bold and the beautiful for decades is about to claim two more victims, the daughters who swore they wouldn't repeat their mother's mistakes. Just when we thought Steffy Forrester and Hope Logan had finally buried the hatchet, the soap gods have other plans. Their fragile peace is about to be obliterated by the same force that's torn this show apart since the 90s, the never-ending battle between Brooke Logan, Ridge Forrester and Taylor Hayes. Temporary truce doomed from the start. On May 19th, Steffy did the unthinkable. She rehired Hope at Forrester Creations. This shocking olive branch had fans wondering if hell had frozen over. But don't be fooled, soap lovers. This peace was never meant to last. The reason? Simple. As long as Ridge remains caught between Brooke and Taylor, their daughters will inevitably be pulled into the crossfire. It's like watching history repeat itself for the millionth time. One longtime viewer commented, "These daughters want to move past their mother's drama, but the writers won't let them." The triangle that never dies. Since the early 90s, the Ridge-Brooke-Taylor saga has been the backbone of B&B. When Ridge chooses Brooke, Taylor suffers. When he runs back to Taylor, Brooke plots her revenge. Lather, rinse, repeat. For 30 years. But here's where it gets really messy. Steffy has always been Taylor's fiercest defender. Remember 2022, when she practically shoved Ridge into her mother's arms after Brooke's New Year's Eve kiss with Deacon? That's our girl, fighting for her mom at all costs. Meanwhile, Hope stands firmly in Brooke's corner, defending her mother's destiny, with Ridge even when the evidence suggests otherwise. Family loyalty trumps professional peace. The current tension between Brooke and Taylor over Ridge is reaching a boiling point, with arguments over a fashion show and constant bickering. How long before Steffy and Hope get dragged into the battlefield? Let's break it down. If Ridge chooses Brooke again, Steffy will see it as the ultimate betrayal of her mother. Do you really think she'll keep Hope employed when she's seething with rage at the Logans? And if Ridge picks Taylor this time, Hope will stand by her heartbroken mother, putting her directly at odds with a triumphant Steffy. One industry insider reveals, these women want to believe they're above their mother's feud, but when push comes to shove, and on this show, it always does, blood loyalty wins out. History repeats itself. Again and again. We've seen this cycle play out countless times over the decades. 1990s. Ridge marries Taylor while Brooke schemes from the sidelines. 2000s. Taylor dies. Ridge consoles himself with Brooke. 2022. Steffy actively pushes Ridge toward Taylor, directly opposing Hope. 2025. And here we go again. With each round, the daughters get pulled deeper into the vortex, fighting their mother's battles while swearing they're nothing like them. What happens next? The truce between Steffy and Hope is living on borrowed time. We've already seen Brooke and Taylor exchanging heated words over Ridge on May 22nd, with an unexpected event on May 23rd that could change everything. Will Steffy blame Hope when Brooke inevitably makes her move on Ridge? Will Hope defend her mother's actions, reopening old wounds with Steffy? The bigger question. Will these daughters ever escape the shadow of their mother's endless triangle? Or are they doomed to replay this drama until the end of time? One thing's for certain, this temporary peace is nothing but a calm before an epic storm. When it breaks, we'll be here for every dramatic moment. Hope's truth bomb for Carter. The bold and the beautiful spoilers are in for Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. In tomorrow's episode, fans can expect Hope Logan to drop a truth bomb on Carter Walton. Meanwhile, Ridge Forrester is suspicious of Steffy Forrester Finnegan's sudden 180 regarding Hope. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the next episode of the CBS soap opera. Daphne Rose's comfort. Let's begin with Daphne Rose, who is comforting Carter. The COO was confused after overhearing Hope and Liam Spencer's private conversation. Liam kept pushing Hope to get back together with Carter. That part made Carter smile. However, the next part was Hope wanting to reunite with Liam. Of course, Carter was missing some context from that conversation. Naturally, Carter went to vent to Daphne, who is all too eager to offer him comfort. Hope Logan's truth bomb. Things are starting to turn around for Hope. Steffy just offered a huge olive branch and asked her to return to Forrester Creations. It was only after this olive branch that Hope finally apologized for her role in the FC takeover. Steffy's olive branch could have Hope reconsidering Liam's plea about her reuniting with Carter. Of course, fans know that if Hope goes to see Carter now, she could interrupt Daphne's slick move. However, it could also force Hope to tell Carter what he actually overheard. That could mean telling Carter about Liam's deadly diagnosis. Steffy Forrester Finnegan's announcement. The bold and the beautiful spoilers for May 20th reveal that Steffy will make an announcement. Although Steffy offered Hope her job back, will Rich Forrester agree? Eric Forrester has always been pretty forgiving, but Rich might have some issues here. For one thing, Rich will be doubtful of Steffy's sudden change of heart. It's not like Steffy can tell him that Liam's diagnosis has put things into perspective. So, how far will Steffy and Taylor Hayes go to keep Rich from the truth? Rich Forrester confused. This could also bring up another conflict between the father and daughter. Steffy had a big issue with Ridge and Eric making a deal with Carter without giving her a say. So will Ridge oppose Steffy's decision to bring back Hope? How will this change things at Forrester Creations? Just how messy will this secret get? Hope big surprise for Forrester Creations. And Carter. Ridge is shocked when he walks into Eric's office and sees Hope standing there with Brooke. Brooke is beaming as she explains that Steffy rehired Hope. Ridge doesn't know what to make of this brand new attitude from Steffy. Seemingly out of nowhere, Steffy is now defending Hope and telling her dad that she might have been a little too hard on her sometime stepsister. Maybe Hope for the future doesn't have to be a thing of the past after all. Ridge is okay with Steffy's decision, but he just wants to understand it. Will Steffy tell Ridge what is going on with Liam? Or will she leave her father feeling befuddled? She already spilled the beans to Taylor, so why not just tell Ridge too? Liam won't be able to hide his illness much longer, so Steffy might feel comfortable telling Ridge the truth. At least he'd understand why Hope was suddenly a Forrester Creations employee again. Carter's utter confusion. Poor Carter Walton thinks that Hope and Liam are back together, planning a long future as a little family with Beth. That's why he took Daphne Rose back to his apartment and poured out his feelings. If he had listened at the door for just another minute, he would have heard Liam encouraging Hope to give Carter another chance and forgive. Life is too short to be hanging on to grudges. When Hope comes to him with important news, Carter just may realize how wrong he was. Will Hope tell Carter that Hope for the future still has an eventual future thanks to her burying the hatchet with Steffy? Or will she confide in him for support and tell Carter that Liam is dying from an inoperable brain tumor? Either way, Carter is going to be surprised when he realizes that Hope and Liam are not picking out rings and a wedding cake because he misunderstood what he heard. Steffy Forrester and Hope Logan, long regarded as one of the bold and the beautiful's most hard-earned détentes, is hanging by a thread and teetering on the edge of collapse. That delicate balance is now being shattered again by the age-old triangle that has haunted this soap for decades. Ridge Forrester caught between Brooke Logan and Taylor Hayes. Despite Steffy and Hope's insistence over the years that they are not their mothers, despite their promises to rise above the chaos and focus on their careers and families, the magnetic pull of generational loyalty is simply too strong. The events unfolding in the week of May 19th through 23 are not just plot twists. They're echoes of a history that refuses to die, reincarnated once again in the bodies and emotions of the next generation. At the center of it all is Ridge Forrester, a man perennially unable to make a lasting decision between two women who've defined his life, and now inadvertently, the lives of their daughters. The emotional consequences of Ridge's indecision are like nuclear fallout, radiating far and wide, contaminating any hope for peace between Steffy and Hope. Just as fans were beginning to believe in the impossible, Hope being rehired by Steffy at Forrester Creations, and even more shockingly, a budding civility, Soap Destiny has other plans, and it's about to detonate. The truth is, this truce was always a house of cards waiting to fall, because the Brooke-Ridge-Taylor triangle is not just a relationship, it is a legacy. And now the daughters who have tried so hard to break that legacy are falling victim to it. On May 19th, when Steffy extended the olive branch and shockingly offered Hope her old position at Forrester, it wasn't just a business decision, it was a moment of vulnerability, of clarity, possibly fueled by Liam's tragic, terminal brain tumor diagnosis, which Steffy is still keeping secret from Ridge and most of the family. That news, still unknown to many, was the invisible catalyst behind Steffy's seemingly inexplicable change of heart. But no good deed goes unpunished in the world of daytime drama, and Steffy's attempt at kindness may have unleashed a fresh storm. Ridge is already suspicious of her sudden 180, questioning whether his daughter's newfound tolerance of hope masks a deeper agenda. The answer lies in her private conversation with Taylor, where the truth, Liam's inoperable condition, was revealed and weighed heavily on Steffy's conscience. Yet Steffy refuses to tell Ridge, protecting Liam's wishes but unintentionally deepening her father's mistrust. And Ridge, always in emotional flux, finds himself pulled once more between Brooke's radiant confidence and Taylor's quiet patience, each woman waiting to see where his heart will ultimately land. In the middle of this swirling emotional vortex stands Hope, trying desperately to piece together a fractured personal and professional life. When she accepted Steffy's offer, it was more than a job. It was a path toward redemption, a chance to reset her reputation and reclaim her creative voice after the Hope for the Future implosion. But almost immediately, Hope is thrust back into emotional chaos, first with Carter Walton, who misunderstood a conversation he overheard between her and Liam. Hope's heartfelt discussion with Liam about Carter and the future was meant to reflect her uncertainty and emotional turmoil, but Carter only caught fragments, enough to convince him Hope was rekindling things with Liam. His wounded pride and aching heart led him into the arms of Daphne Rose, whose intentions may not be as innocent as they appear. Daphne provides Carter comfort, but her timing raises eyebrows, particularly since Carter is still visibly torn over Hope. Hope's decision to drop a truth bomb on Carter threatens to upend everything. Whether she tells him the real reason behind her closeness with Liam, that he's dying, or if she simply clears up the misunderstanding about her intentions, this will be a turning point for Carter. Hope's confession will undoubtedly shape Carter's future at Forrester Creations and potentially reframe his relationship with both women. Meanwhile, the re-emergence of the Brooke-Taylor rivalry looms like a thundercloud. On May 22nd, their verbal sparring reaches a fever pitch, and by May 23rd, an unexpected event threatens to upend all alliances. Whether it's Ridge's decision to lean back toward Brooke, yet again, or a revelation that throws Taylor into heartbreak, the fallout will be immediate. Steffy, ever the lioness for her mother, will take it personally. The moment Ridge shows favor to Brooke, Steffy's rage will reignite, and her tolerance for Hope will vanish like mist in the sun. No matter how professional Hope tries to be, her blood loyalty to Brooke, her destiny with Ridge, will force her hand. If Ridge picks Brooke, Steffy won't hesitate to push Hope out, regardless of the temporary truce. If Ridge chooses Taylor, then Hope will see her mother devastated once more, and she will push back, defending Brooke's right to happiness even if it means confronting Steffy. The lines are drawn and once again, Forrester Creations becomes the battlefield for a generational war masquerading as a fashion house. This cycle is maddening in its predictability, yet heartbreakingly human in its execution. The 1990s saw the same battle play out, Ridge choosing Taylor while Brooke schemed, only to flip the script a few years later. The 2000s brought fake deaths, custody battles, and children growing up in the shadow of broken promises. And in 2022, Steffy herself practically dragged Ridge into Taylor's arms, only to watch the whole dynamic disintegrate yet again. The 2025 edition of this saga is no different, except that the stakes feel even higher because the daughters were so close to breaking free. They were working together, showing respect, even apologizing for past wrongs. Hope's recent apology to Steffy over the FC takeover was a powerful gesture. But all of it now feels like a lie, a temporary dream crushed under the weight of Ridge's inability to make a clean break from the past. Meanwhile, Eric Forrester remains a stabilizing presence, though his health and authority are no longer what they once were. He may support Hope's return, but Ridge is the one calling the real shots now, and his confusion over Steffy's behavior only fuels the growing tension. And what of Liam? His days are numbered, his influence waning. Yet his illness is the silent string pulling everyone's actions. Hope's kindness, Steffy's peace offering, even Ridge's curiosity. All of it loops back to a dying man whose life still matters profoundly to the women he loves. When the truth of his condition comes out, and it will, It could be the final straw that sends all these relationships into free fall. Hope may finally have to choose between honoring Liam's wishes and moving on with Carter, or staying tethered to a family dynamic that never allows her to truly move forward. Steffy may regret opening the door to hope, only to slam it shut when emotions boil over. And Ridge, ever the indecisive heart, may end up destroying his daughter's peace just by being himself. In the end, what makes this storyline so potent is not just the drama, it's the bitter irony. Steffy and Hope, for all their declarations of independence, for all their progress, are still caught in their mother's war. They wear different clothes, speak in more measured tones, and sit in corner offices now instead of high school cafeterias, but the core wounds are the same. They are women living in the shadows of other women's choices, trying to forge new identities while constantly being pulled backward. The tragedy isn't just that history is repeating itself. It's that it never really stopped. It was only paused, simmering beneath the surface, waiting for Ridge to wobble once more so that everything could explode. The truce was a dream. The rivalry is the reality. And as the week unfolds, fans will witness the calm before the storm disintegrate into chaos once more. With every dramatic look, every impassioned argument, and every painful revelation reminding us that in the bold and the beautiful, peace is fleeting, but conflict is eternal.